Hi, in this video we're going to cover the installation and configuration of SQL Server Express 2012 with management tools. At this point you should have already downloaded the file from the link in the course syllabus, and what you'll end up with is a file named somewhat similar to this, SQL Express WT x86.exe. So what I'm going to do, right click on that file, select Run as Administrator. If you get any prompts, and you should, it may take a few seconds, go ahead and accept that administrator prompt. It will look something like that. Go ahead and click Yes. The file will begin extracting to your hard drive. Depending on the speed of your machine, this may take 15 seconds to a minute or 2 minutes or more. So just be patient. Once this extraction process is complete, the installation process will start. Alright, so once the extraction process is complete, you'll see a window similar to this one. Again, this may take anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds to a couple of minutes or more to launch the installation process. Alright, so once the installation process or the extraction process is complete, you end up with a window that looks like this. So what you want to do is click on the installation link and then select the new SQL Server standalone installation. What this will do is this will install a new instance of SQL Server 2012 on your computer. And later on in the course we'll talk about what instances are, so don't worry about that that term at this point. Well, the previous window went by pretty quick, but what it does is it checks for some prerequisite information to make sure you have all of the necessary software installed. If it pauses there, take a look at any of the error messages that may pop up, and correct those before you can move on with the installation. The license agreement pops up. Make sure you read that. I know everybody reads the license agreement. Yeah, anyway. So accept the license terms. You can choose to send usage data to Microsoft about how you use SQL Server. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to check that I accept the license terms. Then select Next. Go ahead, and if you get a prompt for product updates, go ahead and select that as well to include SQL Server product updates. Click Next. It begins the download process, and again, depending on the speed of your internet connection, this may take a short amount of time, or depending, it can take quite a while. Apparently it's going to take quite a while. So okay, so once the setup files are installed, the setup will continue. And again, depending on the speed of your machine, I know I sound like a broken record, but this can take a few minutes. So again, be patient. Alright, so once that process completes, you'll come up with the setup screen. And on this screen you want to check everything but the local DB link. Make sure that you specify the directory that you want to install shared features to. Pretty much don't need to do anything here except select the defaults, but if local DB is checked, make sure you do not select local DB. Click Next. Make sure that when you get to the instance configuration screen that your named instance is SQL Express and that the instance ID is SQL Express. Those are key to making sure that the files included with the book work correctly. So make sure those say the SQL Express and select Next. It'll do a disk space check to make sure that any or that the location you're installing the SQL Server files to has enough disk space. If it does not, it will, of course, error out and give you an opportunity to choose a new location. Go ahead on the next screen, the server configuration with service accounts. Just select Next. On the engine configuration screen, one of the main things that you need to make sure that you do on this screen is in the server administrators area. You want to make sure that you add the user that you will be logging into the computer with as an administrator. So if you're using a user account that is not the one that you will normally use to log into your machine and complete your coursework, you need to make sure that you add that user to your list of SQL Server administrators. So mine's already there, so I'm just going to select Add Current User. Shouldn't do anything because that's the currently logged in user. But if there's nothing there, make sure you hit Add Current User. You don't need to do anything on the data directories, user instances, or file stream tabs. Just make sure that that's correct. Make sure that Windows Authentication Mode is selected and select Next. You can send error reports or not. That's completely up to you. I'm going to not select that and click Next. Then the installation will begin. Again, this can take quite a significant amount of time depending on the speed of your computer. So I'm going to pause the video and I will see you once this installation is complete. Okay, so once the installation process is completed, you'll see the following screen. You want to just kind of scroll down here and make sure that all of these status are succeeded. If you have any failures, take a look at the error message and correct any errors that it may tell you about. Alright, so once we have that installed, we'll go ahead and launch SQL Server Management Studio, or SSMS. You'll find that as a new entry on the Start menu on your computer. You'll see Microsoft SQL Server 2012. Select that, and then inside there you'll find a link for SQL Server Management Studio. Go ahead and select that. That will take a few seconds to launch initially. Once that's done, you'll see a screen that looks like, actually hang on a second, let me move that over. Alright, so you'll see a screen that looks like this, and you will see automatically a login box with your login information in it. The server name box should be the name of your computer with the instance, that SQL Express that we set up earlier as part of the installation process. Make sure it says Windows Authentication and click the Connect button. If you have installed the server correctly, you will see a list of items over on the Object Explorer pane on the left side. So what we'll do now is we'll walk through the process of creating the database files for both the assignment and the book examples. Alright, so with yourself logged in and the Object Explorer pane open, select File and come down to Open and come over to File. Now you should also have already downloaded any student data files from the Dropbox in our class in D2L. So from there you'll browse over to those files. Let's see, they're there, and just browse over to them, and the files you're looking for are called the first one is called create_ap.sql. The AP database will be used for your book examples. So click on that one, click open. It takes a few seconds for it to pull in the database file. And basically what this is the script that you'll run that will create and set up the accounts payable or AP database. Once you have fully loaded the file, you can either press the F5 key on the keyboard to execute the SQL code, or you can click the execute button on the toolbar. Make sure that your database is set to master and click execute again, or press F5. This runs pretty quickly, again depending on the speed of your machine. It doesn't take very long. Once you get the query executed successfully message, you can come over to the Object Explorer and expand the databases link, and you'll see an entry for AP database. If you'll expand that, click on expand tables, and you should see a list of 7 tables that are in the AP database. Once you see that, you know that your accounts payable database was successfully installed. The second database we need to install is the database that you will use for your assignments, and that is the create_my_guitar_shop.sql file, the Guitar Shop database. You'll select that SQL file, click open, and again make sure it says master and click the execute button. This is a much smaller database, so it takes way less time to install. If you'll come over to databases and click refresh, you should now see a database called My Guitar Shop that has the following tables in it. Again, 7 tables. At this point you're set up and ready to go, and your SQL Server databases have been installed, the server's been installed, and you're ready to start working on your assignments and the examples in the book. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. My number is in the D2L course and the syllabus.